Good evening, everyone. It is Friday night in America. What a place to be. What a day to be alive. West Ham are shockingly bad, and now we're going to talk about it. This is Friday Night Likes. We've got some great guests for you tonight. We'll go around the horn here, and everybody can intro themselves. Who are you? Where are you? How do we reach you on social media? And what are you drinking? Ray, you're our scorekeeper tonight in Wally's absence.
Indeed.
So I've already given the name Ray. So where are you?
super
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Nothing that exciting. Based in Liverpool, which most people who watch the show will know. Working at Cody Oakley. Visit our away match.
There you go. Ray is in Liverpool, home of the thieves, and he steals all of our hearts. Ray, I'm going to put you in the back room.
Yeah.
Jay, over to you, fella. Who are you? Where are you? How do we reach you? What are you drinking?
I'm Jay. I'm at Iowa Iron. Oh wait, over here. There we go. At Iowa Iron on Twitter. Sometimes I tweet about West Ham. Sometimes I tweet about I don't know, weird stuff. So I'm not a great follow. And I am drinking Exile Cranberry Sour, which is a local brewery here in Des Moines.
Very nice. Very nice. Katie, you're local to me.
Yes. So Katie from Philly, West Ham, Philadelphia. You can reach me on social media at Miss West Ham Philly. Yeah, so I'm drinking 19 Crimes. I don't know if you guys can see that. And the reason I'm drinking that tonight is because the way we've been playing is a damn crime.
That's truth. That is definitely the truth.
So,
Cameron.
So I am Cameron at CT Knows Worst. I tweet mostly West Ham, and I'm originally Canadian, so you'll find a fair bit of Toronto Maple Leafs popped in there as well. Kind of based out of Richmond, Virginia. So anybody listening, if you're in Virginia, please hit me up. I need people to come with me to Penny Lane Pub, as we were talking about earlier, John, to mitigate the amount of obnoxious Spurs and Liverpool supporters there. So
they are obnoxious.
That's a Liverpool bar, isn't it, Cameron?
Yeah, Terry, the owner, is straight off from Liverpool, and I mean, my favorite story about that joint is I walked in on my one of my first days in Richmond wearing my West Ham kit and everything, and he went, "Oh, fucking West Ham, sit over there, lad," and put on the match for me and bought me my first beer. So
you can't see that Ray is actually crying at that Liverpudlian accent in the back room. It was that bad. I'll give you a thumbs down on that one, Cameron, but I'll give you a thumbs up for trying, so you've equaled out. That's not too bad.
I am drinking Hardywood's Richmond Lager.
Very nice.
Cheers.
That's a good one. Well, glad to meet you all. Thank you all for coming on. My name is John Nolan, your host. I am drinking a Victory Hop Wallop IPA, and it certainly does pack a good wallop. These guys are going to be competing for likes. That's when they get the thumbs up. We're going to ask a bunch of West Ham related questions, go around the circle, and we'll hear all of their answers. So without further ado, we'll get into the first question. I assume everybody watched that shit show of a match that occurred. It's not good. It wasn't good. It was awful viewing. What's going wrong, and why, even when we change shape, we change system, do we continue to look bad? Katie, you're nodding, so I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know why we're such a mess. It just seems like we are just completely inconsistent. So even with the changing of our structure, I just feel like everyone has been completely inconsistent. So, Antonio played, like he won the 50-50 balls and everything like that, but he's not playing defeat, and he gets up to the front and he's taking on 5 players, 5v1. Like, that's not how you play basic soccer. So it's just a little bit ridiculous. You gotta play defeat. You gotta play the field, do a little bit better, take advantage of our opportunities. And we're not doing that. And it's continuous. Every game, that's what we're not doing correct.
Yeah, we're certainly not taking advantage of opportunities. Cameron.
I just some of the team selection absolutely baffles me. Like the fact that we're still playing Robert Snodgrass on the wing when we're trying to make it to the next level, and putting Philippe Anderson on the bench and Lanzini on the bench is just absolutely shocking to me. I like Robert Snodgrass. I like his heart and everything, but as far as playing attacking football and accurate, like technical football, it's not a strong suit. And just decisions like that and decisions in the midfield and the lack of investment and everything is just our net spend over the summer was okay, but the amount of players that we gave up was absolutely shocking considering the lack of players we brought in and everything. And I think at this point it's showing itself. December's always a tough month for squad rotation and everything, and it's just not working right now.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look to be. Jay, what do you put this down to?
I agree with what's been so far, but certainly, I think a lot of it can be traced back to the board's tight-fistedness. There was a lack of investment in the. We didn't replace players that have gone missing. Cheku Kuyate in Bilic's second season, which was third season, so it was the second season at the Olympic Stadium. We've never really replaced him with a true box-to-box midfielder. That midfield is crying out for some legs. Declan Rice can only do so much. We have an tight-fisted, analytical, anti-intelligence-driven signing situation with our owners who would rather get a deal with an agent that they have a relationship with than sign players that the club actually needs. We don't spend money. We're spanking $40 million on strikers. We're not spanking anything in midfield on fullbacks, anything like that. $8 million for Fabianski was the first time I think Golden Sullivan had paid for a goalkeeper in their entire tenure, which is going on about 10 years now. I think any failures ultimately, like you can trace it back. Sure, players aren't trying hard enough. Sure, the formations or the team selection might not be right. Sure, Pellegrini might have lost the team, but I think ultimately this team's, both on and off the pitch, all the failures of this team rest at the board's feet.
That's a great talking point. I'm going to say the anti-intelligence when it comes to signing. You're completely right about that. And the shambles that is the inside game that's going on behind the scenes with people that like other people. I mean, going all the way back, even during the Allardyce era, talking about Ravel Morrison not signing for a certain agent and suddenly he's out the door as well. There seems to be something culturally wrong at this football club. But Cameron, I want to come back to a point that you made, and that was Robert Snodgrass, right? So I think in the Twitter sphere slated him in the first half, myself included. It was plain for all to see. He needed to be pulled, and he needs to be pulled earlier. And then he sneaks that goal. Is that goal good enough to get rid of all the bad things that happened in the first half? Should he have still been pulled after scoring that goal? And we can just do a yes and a brief explanation of why around the circle. I'll come to each of you, but Cameron, you can start.
Love the goal, and I love the passion behind it. As I said, I like Robert Snodgrass as a person and everything, but he absolutely should have been pulled after that goal. Frankly, I don't know why he started. I mean, if you look at his stats at the number of failed crosses into the box and failed passing attempts and everything in that match, it was absolutely just awful. I mean, the goal was a great thing and everything, but that doesn't recover all of his other stats that as a winger he should be succeeding in.
What do you think, Jay?
I kind of agree with that. We've got quite a few players, on the wrong side of 30. I'm on the wrong side of 30, but certainly we've got a lot of players on the wrong side of 30 that, no legs, no pace. Robert Snodgrass shouldn't be starting. I feel like most of the players shouldn't be anywhere near this squad at this point. Like, should have the one good thing, and I know we might come to this in a little bit. The one good thing that happened when we got relegated 10 years ago was that we got all the Wanaways out of the club, and potentially, if we do get relegated, that could be a good situation. We could lose some of these 30-year-olds who seem to, or 30, 32, 33, 34-year-olds who are just here for a paycheck, aren't actually here. Don't have the legs to complete with the Wilfred Zaha on the wing. Don't have the legs, behind defense. I know they don't have Wan-Bissaka, but if they did, potentially, Robert Snodgrass sure isn't going to beat him for pace. So
Yeah, and we'll get into that a bit more later. Katie.
I'm surprised he did start. I think his goal did make up for some of the mistakes he made. I mean, how can you say it doesn't? Just because we don't have other people finishing. That goal was brilliant, I mean, no goalkeeper could have stopped that goal. I mean, it was spectacular. But yeah, I do think he should have been pulled after that. That's just my opinion.
That's fair enough. Just wanted to get everybody's thoughts. It came up when Cameron was bringing that up because I was still yelling for him to be taken off, and I think it was you saw the changing quality of possession at least when Anderson came on and what he can bring to the team. It baffles me why he's not getting more minutes, but I think Pellegrini's trying to make a point. Anyway, obviously we didn't use our 13 days, everybody. We had 13 days to get riled up for this game, to get amped up, to come out fast, to come out with the right game plan. And we apparently did not use that break to prepare for a weakened Crystal Palace team, which we should have been putting the rocket up. So what do you think the players were up to the last 13 days? Did they go shopping? Were they out on the piss, boozing it up? Or what do you think they were doing? Jay, let's start with you.
Here in Des Moines, one of my favorite breweries, not the brewery I'm drinking from tonight, but one of my other favorite breweries was running a Beers of Christmas event, different microbrew or a different craft brew. So I'm wondering something along those lines. Noble had them all down at the Fullers in Chiswick, the Fullers, brewery, and they were doing some event down there. So
it certainly looked that way. Katie.
I wish I knew what the hell they were doing because, like you said, they honestly did not prepare. It was disgusting to have that much time off and to see that they were just completely not focused. And we'll talk about what Antonio did. So that to me is proof that this team has no trust and no faith in what's going on. So Pellegrini's got to get out.
Strong words from Katie. Cameron, where are you? Were they having a nice time? They're putting their feet up or what?
I would like to think that they were building another trailer at Rush Green. I think that Snodgrass puking on himself or whatever the hell that was kind of speaks for itself. Antonio's thing that I'm sure we'll get into later and everything speaks for itself. It obviously was not spent on the pitch.
Yeah. And what about the boss? What was he up to? What did Pellegrini do over the last 13 days? Katie?
I mean, I have no clue. I mean, at least he changed our formation. I was happy with that. I think we definitely played better in that formation, but I think we were a mess. We weren't playing defeat. We weren't moving the ball down the field appropriately. So he definitely, didn't scout Crystal, very well.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look that way. Cameron?
I honestly don't know. At this point, it seems like he is very set in his ways, and he probably just had several cups of tea and hung out with his family and didn't even think about the tactics. At this point, I was super, super, super excited about Pellegrini when he signed with us as our manager and everything. But I mean, to this point, I'm just disappointed doesn't quite cover it with him. It's not working.
Jay?
It's quite flabbergasting, really.
Clearly what's being missed here is the big movie debut. Pellegrini was obviously getting his Palpatine costume ready for the Rise of Skywalker. He was going to go in costume with all of his friends. He had a buddy, he had somebody ready to go as Lando. He had the whole crew ready. And he was more focused on getting the finishing touches done on his Palpatine outfit than he was on, focusing on the match day squad, on tactics, on scouting.
Incredible. Ajeti, I am your father. Oh, dear. So, what about the board then? They must have been up to something the last 13 days. I said this is the last one. I'm not going to go player by player. We'll go with the board. What were the board up to the last 13 days? I'm going to give my answer first. Well, no, you can come to me last. I'll come to myself last. I don't even know why I'm saying that. Cameron, go ahead.
I think with their other business, they had a lot of adult sex toy orders to fill, and they weren't thinking about Boxing Day quite at that time because their other business took priority.
It's a romantic time of year. Katie.
I don't know. I have no idea what
It's an acceptable answer. I mean, I don't think they do either. So
honestly, I have not been this speechless about this team in quite a while, but they've left me quite speechless.
Jay.
I typed. Sounds like I'm reading from something. It's because I am. They spent the last 13 days in their huge chairs, counting their money and depriving Robert Kraft of the medicine that Tiny Ajeti needed to survive. They are then visited by the ghost of Carson Young, the former owner of Birmingham City, telling them that they would be visited by 3 spirits to share of their ways in the running of West Ham. The ghost of West Ham past, Avram Grant. The ghost of West Ham present, Karen Brady, who tells us how she had the most successful migration to the afterlife out of anyone who's ever migrated to the afterlife. And the ghost of Christmas yet to come, Mark Noble. He's still playing Freddie. Feeling no different, and West Ham sinks further into despair, and Tiny Ajeti dies.
Oh, poor Ajeti. What a shame for him. Liam in the chat room actually stole my answer, which is they're diving into their money like Scrooge McDuck. Was going to be my answer, but Liam's already pointed that one out. Either way, it's a shit show of a situation. Let's bring Ray back in and see what the scores are. Ray,
Hey guys.
I took you by surprise. What scores do we have, Ray?
Right, so Cameron, you definitely had to lose a point for that dodgy accent because, like, being in Liverpool, I would get lynched if I didn't take a point off you. So, Cameron, you're on 6. Katie, you're also on 6. But after Jay's little rant with his little list, he's on 9. So well done, Jay.
Well done, Jay. All right. Yeah, that was pretty hard.
Pellegrini was definitely in Chile for the fucking last week. He weren't doing anything on the football front, was he?
He looks jet lagged, doesn't he, Ray?
Yeah.
Surely must be. Who knows? Terrible. I'm going to boot you back, and then we'll bring you back at the end again to give our final update. We've got just a couple questions left. So we kind of touched on this before. We're in relegation form. Would relegation be a bad thing? What do you think it would do for us? Or what do you think it would do to us? Yeah. Is it bad? Is it good? Is it indifferent? Cameron.
Anybody who says that relegation is a good idea for us is not looking at facts. Look at Leeds, look at Derby, look at kind of pretty much any of those big clubs from 20 years ago that fell down, and it's not going to be good if we get relegated again. Yeah, we made it up once. Can we do it again with this board? No.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'd go and get Allardyce again. Katie, what do you think?
So I understand what he's saying, but I do think that it might be a motivator to get relegated. Of course, I don't want to see that. I don't want that to occur. But I do think we need a little bit more motivation. Apparently, this isn't enough.
Who's it going to motivate?
I think everyone. I think the players. I mean, coaching staff. It's not just Pellegrini. It's the whole staff.
That's interesting. So you think Pellegrini would stick around, or they'd still have him if we got relegated?
No, I don't think him necessarily, but the rest of the staff.
Okay. See what you mean. Jay, what do you think?
Well, for me personally, I think it would be great. NBC Sportsnet, I think, charges an arm and a leg for their Premier League pass. If I can get ESPN Plus, pair it with my Hulu and Plus and watch Mandalorian, that'd be great. For for the club as a whole. I could be wrong. I think David Gold and David Sullivan profit on the Olympic Stadium if we get relegated. I think it costs less to rent the Olympic Stadium if we go down. So I think they would benefit from it. I think we would see quite a bit off of key assets. Declan Rice would certainly go. Probably Felipe Anderson, Sebastian Allaire. Someone would probably snipe Fabianski out from underneath us. But it would be there'd be a clearing out, just like when, mercenaries like Radoslav Kovac and Valin Barami all those years ago left the club. The biggest issue, it would be a bad thing. The biggest issue I see is I don't see them replacing Pellegrini or whatever manager with someone good. I don't know what exciting young manager there is out there that would want to come to our mess of a club down to the championship. At least the Premier League has some kind of bright lights about it, but down to the championship, it would be a nightmare.
If you go to the championship, why don't we try Slaven Bilic?
Because he'll be in the Premier League by then. He's not going to come back down. Did you think Slav was a good manager, honestly?
At the end of the day, yeah, I think he did very well for us, and I think that he meant a lot to the club, and the club meant a lot to him. And he's taken a okay West Brom team and turned them into league leaders with a couple signings here and there, and what he's doing at West Brom right now can't be denied. He's taken Diangana, and pretty much I'd say half the West Ham base is dying for him to come back. The other half of the West Ham base is dying for him to stay there because of the development that he's getting and everything. And that doesn't happen without good managers.
I'll give you a thumb for some good points, but Katie, you were shaking pretty furiously there. You don't think Slav's a good manager? Why is that?
No, I don't. I don't think he's a good match for us. And same thing with David. I don't think David was a good match for us either. The problem is, which we've discussed in several other episodes, who is our next option? I think that's the biggest struggle. That's our biggest challenge. We have great players. It's just, developing them. Obviously, Pellegrini's not doing that. And, we need to work on that. We need to develop our young players, and we're not.
Sorry to jump in again and everything, but my counterpoint would be is who is a good manager with this board?
Sam Allardyce
that's the question.
With this board. I think, I don't know, not that I want him or even would want him back, but he seems to be the only manager that's made it past 3 or 4 years on that West Ham have had in the last 20 years. Since Redknapp, really, which is crazy.
I know. I just don't like him that much.
I don't like him either. I'll tell you what, though. I was thinking about this the other day. And can you
really want to go back to that?
I know. It's the head and the heart. What do we do?
I don't want to go back to that, but I cannot. I was trying to think of who a really bad Allardyce signing was. Like, he at least had an identity and signed players around that identity. I don't know. No, we haven't had a manager since that's done any of that. What do you make of Bilic there, Jay?
He had one good season and was the good season in the weirdest Premier League season ever, and then was found out afterwards. I don't really know what, honestly, at the end of the day, what to make of Slaven Bilic. And I still don't. I'm 100% confident that West Brom will get promoted this year and probably get relegated next year because he seems to have a very limited shelf life as a manager. His signings didn't always seem to make sense. Like we were talking, with Allardyce, like at least he kind of made it in the team, and he kind of some of the stuff he did made sense, and he was able to get kind of this board going. I remember the summer we signed Chicharito. It was the players we were linked with were Olivier Giroud, Chicharito, Michy Batshuayi, and Alexander Lacazette. Can anyone tell me what those 4 strikers have in common and how they would fit in how you can take one and put it in the same system as the other? Because I certainly can't. The one thing when you guys were talking about Allardyce, the one manager that maybe we could get that could maybe do something would be Danny Cowley. But I don't know how Huddersfield's doing. So, but I do think they might have the gumption, and they're a little bit more boring football. But they might be the club to make it work.
Yeah, I had a couple
the
of
manager, sorry, the club.
couple of issues with Bilic. I mean, we were just so unfit by the end of the second year. It was just they weren't running, they weren't moving, and the fetishization, if that's even a word, of wingers was beyond anything I've ever seen before. But we'll move on. We got one last question for everybody, and we're going to go around and just want your answers for. I've picked out 4 or 5 players. So everybody has seen the news. Mikel Antonio got into a crash in his Lamborghini, I believe, while wearing a snowman outfit. And if anybody's seen the video of him stepping out of the car after the crash, it's pretty hilarious. But we've got a number of other players at our club, and I don't think all of them are driving around in Lambos. Maybe some of them are a little more modest. Maybe some of them are a little more old school. Maybe some of them have higher taste than Lamborghini even. And I'm sure all of them would also be down for wearing some silly outfits around Christmas time. So for the following players, what car do you think they would have crashed? And what would they be wearing when they crashed it? So I'm going to start with Robert Snodgrass, and Jay, we'll start up with you.
He would be dressed as the Highlander, driving a Toyota Highlander.
Excellent. Casey.
You know those cars? I'm trying to think of what it's called. The one where all the rats are in the commercial.
No, no idea what you're doing.
It's that box-shaped car. That's the one I picture him driving.
Scion XB.
What's that?
The Scion XB, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
That's what I picture him driving. I don't know why. Dressed up as a rat.
Dressed up as a rat. I can see that. I can see it. Cameron.
Robert Snodgrass. I'm just going based on personality. I'm going to put him in a 1994 Toyota Camry. That reliable car, does okay, but is just not fast, not great. Just it gets you from point A to point B, and I think he would probably be dressed in a kilt.
Yeah, he may wear that every day, but that's also an acceptable answer. Mark Noble, Cameron.
I'm going to go with a British Racing Green MG wearing a Union Jack onesie.
Mr. Brexit himself. Jay.
I pictured him in old reliable kind of bland Mark Noble, in a regular old reliable like Honda. And if you remember my story previously, he's the Ghost of Christmas Present, so I had him dressed as a ghost.
Katie.
Or Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, I guess.
For Noble, I have him in a Lincoln Town Car in a suit.
Is he in the front seat or the back seat?
Oh, he's in the front seat, rolling his fingers, if you know what I mean.
He's the chauffeur, I think. What do we think about Declan Rice, Katie?
Range Rover. Declan's in that Range Rover. He's wearing a big elephant costume. I don't know why. Just is.
It doesn't need a reason. That's fine.
Yeah.
Jay.
Declan Rice would be driving his mom's station wagon. And he would be dressed as a Man United player, so he could be photographed just like Paul Ince was all those years ago. Oh, boo.
Oh, that's so rough, man. Don't do that to my heart. Cameron.
He would be not necessarily driving the boat, but on the boat in his swimming trunks, getting the absolute wit scared out of him.
Oh, that's life imitating art, all the other way around. Manuel Lanzini. Jay.
So an 80s Corvette, something kind of flashy, it has the Corvette name, but those 80s Corvettes were pretty shitty. And I kind of pictured him dressed as there's an old episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where there's a guy who's like, every day I wake and I have paper skin and glass bones. Every morning I break my legs, every half I break my arms. and just the amount of time he spent on the injury table lately, like that's who I pictured him dressed as.
Cameron.
Kind of along the same lines. I picture him in like a Lotus Elise, a car that looks extremely flashy but is very light and doesn't do an awful lot. And I would see him dressed as a ghost.
Another ghost. There's probably because he's the missing man. Katie, did we come to you for this one? Not yet.
No. So I see him in like a black Mercedes wearing a hula skirt with a coconut bra because he's just maxing and relaxing.
He's taking it easy this year.
That's
and
right.
now the one that everybody wants to hear about, Roberto. What car is he driving and what is he dressed up as? Katie, we'll start with you.
Okay, he's driving a clown car and he's wearing the ugliest clown mask with the biggest red nose, flapping as he drives.
Excellent. Cameron.
This is actually a trick question because he would have absolutely missed the garden.
Nicely done. Jay.
I had him riding a donkey dressed as a donkey.
That's very that's like half Jesus-esque, but it's good for this time of year. Let's bring Ray back in. Ray, what car do you think Roberto drives and what is he dressed up as?
It's going to be a broken down Ford Escort.
Classic.
On its last leg. Or Del Boy's car. If you've seen
the three-wheeler, yeah, the Trottermobile. Fantastic. I'd have Roberto probably in a Skoda, and I don't know. He's probably just dressed up as a thief because he's stealing a living. But with that, Ray, what are the scores this evening?
Just a quick question: did Jay get a thumbs down? Did he lose one?
He did for that Declan Rice Man United comment. I can't let him do that to me.
Yeah, bad. So Jay's on 14, Katie's on 16, and Cameron's on 14 as well. So Kate's in the league. Where did that come from?
Woo!
Jesus.
It's that clown one.
Yeah, that clown car,
the good
baby.
one. Well, Katie, thank you very much, everybody. Let me, guys, we'll see you in the back room, but I'm going to give the floor to Katie. She has as much time as she wants to go on a rant or say anything that she'd like to. If you want people to follow you, whether they follow you, or
well,
what do you want to do?
Of course, I want people to follow me, Miss West Ham Philly. But my biggest thing that I talk about all the time, which my group here in Philly hates me, Antonio. I mean, so inconsistent. I gotta love him, gotta hate him. What in the hell is he doing? Driving his Lamborghini like a madman, 50 miles per hour, right into someone's garden a day before we have a game. It makes no sense to me. Like, get focused. You're a professional athlete. Start acting like it. You know, if he thought it was a good idea to be driving around with that snowman thing on his head, come on, buddy. We shouldn't be paying you, 60 pounds a year, 60,000 pounds a year. Something's just wrong. So, sorry, West Ham Philly. He's not my man.
Yes, I feel you with that one, Kate. I got to say, if you're going to be a professional, at least take the hood off when you're driving.
He's not a professional.
At least take the hood off while you're driving.
Can I just say one thing
Go on,
about
Ray.
Antonio? Wasn't he coming back from visiting the kids at hospital?
I don't care. You're not driving
Savage.
50 miles an hour in your Lamborghini the day before a game.
It's in hospital Christmas Day, and you're over the game, Kate. That's harsh.
Nope.
She's just
I don't
asking
care.
him
You
to
have
drive
to be
like
responsible.
a responsible citizen of the road. That's all.
Yeah, he should have.
I'm with you,
That's what
Kate.
Antonio was doing it. He was,
That's a double negative.
See him getting out of that car.
I was gonna say, well, it's an amazing video. If you haven't seen it, go and watch the video of Antonio getting out of the car. Hopefully that doesn't happen again to him or another Lambo in the West Ham squad. Jay, Cameron, Katie, Ray, thank you all so much. Everybody else in the chat room, thank you for coming in. Please hit the subscribe button. Please go to ahtv.com, .threadless.com, buy American Hammers Network merchandise. You got some excellent shirts, hats, shower curtains, the whole lot. Everything you could possibly need. With that, we're going to go. This has been Friday Night Likes. Please share it. Please retweet it. Guys on social media, push it out. We want everybody to have a good laugh about the shit state that our club is in. We try and bring a little comedy relief. So with that, enjoy your Fridays, everybody. Hopefully we'll have a good game tomorrow, right, against Leicester, or today for you, Ray. Why don't we do, we'll take a second. Anybody got any predictions, Ray?
I have no hope whatsoever. I reckon at least 4-0, if not more.
And I don't think you meant to us, right?
Yeah, definitely not to West Ham.
Katie, what do you think?
2-0, not us.
Cameron?
We are such a banter club right now. I think we'll squeak out like a 2-0 win and totally not deserve it.
Possible. Jay?
I'm gonna go Leicester City 4, West Ham United 5. Why not?
Wow, you've got a lot of hope.
Love
Yeah,
that.
it's the banter bus is in full effect.
Oh,
Thank
I
you
got
very
no
much,
hope.
everybody.
I'm just throwing 2 numbers out there.
It's all good. All right, we're going to end the show. Thanks, everybody, and make sure you join us again next Friday.
All right.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on.